नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So today's reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 22. Ananyas chintayato mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashemam वहाम्यहम। अनन्यस चिंतयन्तो माम ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम। Synonyms: Ananya, having no other object. Chintayanta, concentrating. Mam, on me. Ye, those who. Janaha, persons. Paryupasate, properly worship. Tesham, of them. Nitya, always. Abhiyuktanam, fixed in devotion. Yoga, requirements. Shemam, protection. Vahami, carry. Aham, I. Translation and purport given by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. You may repeat after me. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Perfect. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable condition. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान् वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते दिव्ये गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवसादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So I seek the blessings of you all Vaishnavas, so I can speak something from Bhagavad Gita for my own purification. This class was supposed to be given by Narayani Mataji, but she is busy, so she told me to give class on her behalf. So there is a very interesting verse. This chapter is entitled as the most confidential knowledge. In Hindi it's called Param Guhya Jnana in Sanskrit. And this is like verse number 22, 9.22, and that is our goal basically. Like in Krishna consciousness, if anything we want to aspire for it, we want to aspire this. And that is Mahaprabhu's prayer is also like na dhanam, na. I'm sorry. Is it okay? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Kavitam va jagdish kamaye mam janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. This is the summum bonum of Mahaprabhu's teaching, like na dhanam, I am not in want of wealth, na janam, not in followership, na sundarim, I am not interested in enjoying the opulence of this world, kavitam, nor I want praises. What I want, even I don't want liberation also. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki. Same this verse is talking about. This verse is saying ananyas chintayanto mam. I don't want to do anything except one thing, that all the time I just want to remember Krishna. And this is the definition given by Vaishnava Acharya. Like sometimes a question comes in our mind that what is bhakti? So a very famous like Vaishnava Acharya, like bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga dhana, bhakti Krishna nama smarana krandana. So bhakti means always remembering Krishna and crying for Krishna. And what is this crying actually? This crying is our chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is crying, and this is not the crying of tears which are coming from the eyes. This is the crying of heart. So the question may come like, whose heart's crying is this? Like Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj in his lecture gives a very nice explanation that actually it is a crying of, it's like Radharani's cry. When Radharani feels separation from Krishna, that is like Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this verse is actually, it talks about Ananya Bhakti, exclusive devotion. So there are two kinds of devotionals. There are two kinds of devotee, we can say, or two kinds of devotion. One is called mixed devotee and another is called pure devotee. Like in Uddhav Gita, also it is explained that it's called Kevala Bhakti and Guni Bhuta Bhakti. Two types of bhakti. Kevala Bhakti and Guni Bhuta Bhakti. Why Kevala Bhakti and Guni Bhuta? Kevala Bhakti means exclusive devotion. I don't want anything than Krishna. Krishna is my only property. Krishna is my only treasure. All I want to do is Krishna, 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 Krishna. And this is also Mahaprabhu's, like Mahaprabhu also taught in a similar way actually. Ki shayane, ki bhojane, ki ba jagarane, aharnesha chinta Krishna bolo bolo. Whenever Mahaprabhu used to go, he used to call Krishna, 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 Krishna. Krishna 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 hai Krishna 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 Raksh Mam Rama Ragha Rama Ragha Payam. So Mahaprabhu, like whether eating or sleeping or going, he is always calling Krishna Krishna. This is called exclusive devotion, Ananya Bhakti, and this verse is for Ananya Bhakti. There is also another kind of devotee. They are called mixed devotee, or the devotional service which is practiced under, which is practiced under modes of nature, basically guni bhuta bhakti. So in this category, two kinds of people are there. One who is aspiring for liberation, they just want to be free, they are too much, this is too much from the material world, they just want to go out, or they have material desires, they want something out of this world, and demigods generally come in this category. So what here is saying, naturally a question may come that, like, if somebody will devote all the time to Krishna, then who will take care of him? What will be of his maintenance actually? Because we have this body. So in order to maintain this body, we need food, we need shelter, we need certain things. So who is going to maintain if all the time I am just going to chant Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? So here Krishna is saying that yoga shemam vahamyaham. You don't have to worry. I personally carry. But what is the condition? Two interesting words are there in this sloka. Paryupasate and nityabhyuktanam. So paryupasate means like properly worship, like avyabhicharani bhakti, just Krishna only. He doesn't deviate from his path. And nityabhyuktana, always fixed in devotion. Whether it is a happy situation or whether it is a sad situation, he never gets deviated from his remembrance of Krishna. Always remembering Krishna, always thinking of Krishna. Such a person is called unalloyed devotee. If you see in Bhagavad Gita, this middle 6 chapter, like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 12th, they talk about devotional service. And the interesting thing is that, like, this 7th chapter starts with a verse called Maya Sakta Manapartha. With what stage of devotion they are talking? Maya Sakta Manapartha. One who is attached to me, Asakti. Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjam Madashraya. So sometimes we feel that, especially sadhaka, those they are practicing devotee, they feel that, like, I am also practicing devotional service. So does this verse apply on me? Yes, to a certain degree. But this verse is actually for those devotees, they are unalloyed in nature. And we know the stages of devotion. That is, it starts with Shraddha, Adho Shraddha, faith. When you have the faith, then you associate with the devotees, Sadhu Sangha. And then when you have associate with the devotees, they give process to you, Bhajan Kriya. When you follow the process, then unwanted things from your heart goes away, Anartha Nivratti. Then a determination comes in your life that whatever will happen, I will not give up the path of bhakti. Nishtha, then after Nishtha, you develop a taste, ruchi, and then it comes asakti. Asakti means you become attached to devotional service. And then asakti comes bhava, and then comes bhava, prema. So here in this verse, Krishna is talking about those devotees, they are almost at the level of bhava stage, just before prema. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yoga shemam vahamyaham. So Srila Prabhupada used to say that, like, this is our goal. One day we have to come to this level, that we are not asking about what is the bhav of, bolte dal ka kya bhav hai, chawal ka kya bhav hai. Not that bhav. Bhav means feeling for Krishna, that a feeling that I have a relationship with Krishna, and which may be out of this 4 principal mallows, basically servitorship, friendship, parental and conjugal. But I come to a stage when I can experience that, I have the relationship with Krishna in that way. So this is the goal, basically. Now here we can also understand one thing. When it happens, when a person is properly situated in consciousness. Now what do we mean by properly situated in consciousness? When we no more identify ourselves with any designation of this world, even after coming in bhakti also. Like when somebody becomes an Indra, if he thinks that he is an Indra, then it's like he is attached with a post, a designation actually. So what Narad Muni says in Narad Pancharat, Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesh sevanam bhaktiruchyate. That now you have become free from all sorts of designations and you are firmly fixed in your identity first. That you are not the body, you are the spirit soul. But this is a basic idea. But more than Jiver Swarupa Haya Krishnera Nityadas. that I am eternally a servant of Krishna. I am a part and parcel of Krishna, and my only duty is to serve Krishna. When a person is situated in that consciousness, he is performing Ananya Bhakti. So, like, who is performing Ananya Bhakti? But it's not necessary that somebody who is at the level of Bhava, he can only be considered in the category of Ananya Bhakti. That is sure. But even though a person who is a beginner in Krishna consciousness, like Prabhupada used to say, in our movement, everybody is a pure devotee. Why everybody is a pure devotee? Because they are situated on the path of pure devotion. If they stick to this path, one day they will become pure devotee. And in that respect, Prabhupada used to give an example of ripened mango and unripened mango. Like kacha aam, green mango and yellow mango. If the green mango remain attached to the tree, then in due course of time it becomes yellow. Provided it is attached to the proper tree, means it is following the process properly. So we are the soul. More than that, we are Krishna's eternal servant. We are Krishnera Nityadas. So here we understand that, like, if anything a soul has to do, then it has to do only 9 things. And what are those 9 things? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. If somebody has to ask, like, what is the real occupation? What one has to do? Simply these 9 activities. Besides these 9 activities, whatever we do, it comes secondary. It's not primary activity. We just do it because we are not on that level. But those people, they are situated on Ananya Bhakti, they just do these 9 things. Besides these 9 things, they don't worry about other things. So that is also the meaning of Ananya Bhakti. Ananya Bhakti. Now the real question comes that how these devotees are maintained. Do the Lord personally comes and take care of them? So similarly in the Bhagavad Gita, there was a chapter 8 and the verse number 24, where it was mentioned that, like, the yogis, when they achieve perfections, they are helped by demigods. Demigods make different arrangement for them for their deliverance. But it is not in the case of devotee. Because in the case of a devotee, and he is an unalloyed devotee, Lord personally come. Lord personally come for his own protection and like on deliverance actually. Tesham nityabhyuktanam yogam shemam vahamyam. So somebody can say that, like, what kind of devotee you are, that you are asking a service from someone who is the object of your worship. The question may come that, but only one can ask such a question, that who has no idea about devotional service. Devotional service means what? It's a loving exchange between a devotee and the Lord. And loving exchange can never be one-sided. It is always reciprocal. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a famous line comes that, like, Dui lage hoda hodi. It's not that a devotee is eager to serve Krishna. Krishna is even more eager to serve the devotee. And that we see, with an example of, like, with the relationship with Arjuna and Krishna. When Arjuna chose Krishna, Krishna became his charioteer. And not only charioteer, Krishna is counseling and saving and protecting the life of Arjuna by all means. Similarly, when gopis, when they offered everything to Krishna, so Krishna also willing to give everything to them, and at last Krishna had to say, no, I cannot pay you back. So it's not that in devotional service only a devotee is eager to serve Krishna. Krishna is also eager to reciprocate with the devotee, and Krishna always finds an opportunity how he can service the devotee. So in that respect, a very interesting story comes. This is from South India. In South India, there was a Brahmana called Arjunacharya. Now this Arjunacharya was a very good scholar and a Brahmana, very good devotee of the Lord. And one day he was writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So he reached to this particular verse, Yoga Shema Vahamyam. So then he thought that Yoga Shema Vahamyam, Vahami, Karomi, I do personally. Krishna says, Vahami, I carry. Now how is it possible Lord can carry? Because we hear the description of Lord, that Lord is very soft. Lord's body is compared with a lotus, like lotus like soft. So how is it that Lord will personally come? And who am I? Generally, a devotee's attitude is like, who am I? I am just an insignificant, spark in comparison to the entire creation. So I'm just, like a dust particle. And in comparison to like, who is Krishna? Krishna is big. So that is like a Aishwarya Bhava, not Madhurya Bhava. So generally a devotee's feeling is that he is low. So Arjunacharya also thought like, how come Lord can come? If a devotee is in difficulty, Lord can send somebody personally. And then through that, like Lord can make the arrangement. But no, so he couldn't understand. So he just make a cut, mark, and he just crossed, this line, with the line, just Vahami, cut. And then it was the time of his noon duties, so he went to the bank of Kaveri to take bath and then to do his Gayatri. Meanwhile, his wife was in home. Then a door was knocked by two beautiful boys. One was blackish in complexion and one was absolutely white. And they were carrying so much load and say, Guru Ma, Guru Ma, Guru Ma. Bole, what happened? What happened? What happened? Bole, Acharya sent some materials with us. Bole, who? Acharya sent? Bole, who you are? Bole, we are the disciples of Acharya, Arjunacharya. But as for my information is that like my husband has no disciples. How come suddenly you appeared and you can claim that you are the disciples of my husband? No, we are the disciples actually. And this is the, all grocery and vegetables and fruits, he sent with you. And he told that like you go and quickly deliver it to her so that she can cook before he comes. And so that he can honor prasadam one time. But then like how Acharya can be so cruel, because you two boys look so beautiful, so tender in age and so like delicate. How you can carry so much load, and how Acharya can be so cruel so that he can give you such a heavy task. So she was puzzled. Bole, no, he told just take. Bole, okay, you come inside. So then Arjunacharya's wife, called them inside and sat down, and she took, and then first, she gave them water and was their feet, and then you sit down. Don't go anywhere. No, we have to go. Acharya will come. But if he will come and he will see her, that he will scold us. No, you come, I'll cook for you. You come, first eat and then go. Then Arjunacharya's wife cooked nice bhoga and they offered to the two boys. Certainly they were Krishna and Balaram. And after that, then she asked actually, like, why you are in hurry? Because, no, if you will not go, Acharya will beat us. How Acharya can beat us? See, there is a mark on my back and he has already bitten when we were not carrying the load. So, really? And then Arjunacharya's wife became very much, angry. Okay, let the Acharya come. I will talk to him. And meanwhile, this boys left actually. So when Arjunacharya came, so then her wife, his wife was angry actually. So he asked like, why you are doing like that? You don't know the principles of chaste lady. A chaste lady, comes, and why you have eaten this the day she has taken prasadam before. Generally, the custom in Vedic culture is like that. Wife takes prasadam after husband, has finished. So whatever is left out in the plate, and she just take it actually. So then Arjunacharya also became angry, and he asked, so if you can be cruel, I can also do like that. But how can I be cruel? See, so two beautiful boys, but how? One was blackish, another one was whitish, and you gave them so much load and you beat them. No, I have not done them. And then tell me something more about them. And then Arjunacharya realized that when his wife started describing about them, like, oh, they were not ordinary boys. And you are so fortunate. He started glorifying his wife. You are so fortunate that all my learnings became useless, that I couldn't understand, but simply out of your simple devotion and simplicity, you could get an opportunity to serve them personally, to feed them personally. Your life has achieved perfection. And then Arjunacharya realized that actually the marking, the back side, the marking was there. It was not the marking, it just he cut the mark in the book. And so Lord personally showed, this is like a very recent example, that Lord personally take care. But who? Those they are exclusively devoted to Krishna. It's not like, so it's a case like, it's called complete surrender. Prapatti, Purna, total surrender. Total surrender means once I was hearing from my Guru Maharaj, when you say all glories to Srila Prabhupada, what does it mean? Then nothing is left for you. When you say all glories to Srila Prabhupada, then nothing is yours. Nothing is left for you. So this is so total surrender. So surrender also has a stages actually. Initially, first our surrender is like conditional surrender. If Krishna will listen to me, I will follow Krishna. I will worship Krishna. That's called conditional surrender. Oh Krishna, or Radharani, you doesn't listen to me. Okay, I'm not coming to take your darshan. So like conditional surrender. Then it's called partial surrender. Partial surrender is like, yes, I will do, but I can do this much. I cannot go beyond that. It's called, sometimes it's like, Prabhuji, this much is okay. Is it required to do Nirjala Ekadashi and chant all the time, like you just have to remember Krishna. Sometimes you should socialize also, do other things also. So like partial surrender. And sometimes, and another category of surrender is like artificial surrender. Somebody pretends that he is a very, very pakka devotee. All are like, Prabhuji, give me some service. And then some service is given. Today I am busy. Can I come after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can give me another service actually. So it's called artificial. But total surrender means like, even one is not considered about his maintenance and one is not considered about his liberation also. So in that respect, Prabhupada used to say that like who we are, what is our identity? We are neither a renuncer, not enjoyer. We are neither enjoyer, we are not a renuncer. Who we are the servitor. In Hindi it's Sanskrit. हम न तो भोगी हैं न हम त्यागी हैं, तो हम क्या, हम कृष्ण के सेवक. So that is why out of 6 limbs of surrender, 6 principles of surrender, these 2 principles are prominent, that anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjana. Whatever is favorable for my Krishna consciousness, I accept. And whatever is not favorable for my Krishna consciousness, I don't accept. So this is the mood of those individuals. They are situated on the level of Ananya Bhakti. And it is by Ananya Bhakti only we can get Krishna Prem. And in that respect, there is also lots of stories related to another devotee called Narsingh Mehta. There was a very famous devotee, Narsingh Mehta in Gujarat. So he was also like, all the time he was just chanting Krishna, Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare. So much so that like his wife used to get disturbed. Like, now your daughter is of marriageable age, do something. And Krishna will take care. Krishna will do. And literally it happened that like he went to collect alms, but meanwhile he returned, his daughter's marriage was done with so much pomp and so much opulence actually. And when he returned, what happened? You don't know? Our daughter was given in marriage to already. So who arranged actually? Krishna arranged actually. So for that, Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasagira nikhilasya pravasthashu jivanutya sajjate. There's like one more verse comes in Bhakti Rasamrasa. It's like, anasaktasya vishyan yatharam upyundata nirbandha Krishna sambandhiktam viragyutyate. So the point is that like those they are kevala bhakta, ananya bhakta, they don't know anything besides Krishna. Their only life is Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And that is also substantiated by Shukadeva Goswami in Bhagavatam 6th canto. When the heart will be purified. How the heart can only be purified by pure devotion only. Not by compromise, kind of devotion. He says, Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Agam dhunvanti karsnena niharam eva bhaskara. Just like in the winter season we see there is a fog. As soon as the sun appears, the fog is dissipated. Similarly, when the pure devotion in our heart arises, we may not be a pure devotee, but if you are walking on the path of pure devotion, then what happens? All the dirty things within our heart immediately vanquished. Immediately, vanquished. But when it happens, when somebody is situated on the path of ananya bhakti, unalloyed devotions, and that this verse is talking about all this. Okay, and just before that, Krishna was also telling that there are some other classes of people also. Instead of taking shelter of Krishna, they take shelter of Krishna's representatives, demigods basically. So they are not doing pure devotions, though their worship is also going to Krishna, but it is not direct. But here Ananya Bhakti means what? Ananya Bhakti means exclusively for Krishna, exclusively. So we will take one more example and then we will take questions and answer. Another classic example, one has to understand, Krishna is such a lover now. He is an exclusive lover. He wants exclusive attention. Sometimes we talk and the person who is speaking, he wants complete attention of his audience. That you should not do anything than just listening to me. Krishna is also like that. And the classic example is Mother Draupadi. When she was in trouble, and when in Asata Sabha, when Yudhishthir Maharaj tagged Mother Draupadi and he lost, then Draupadi had to submit her, Mother Draupadi, and then this Duryodhanan party, they were about to insult her. So she was in need of protection. She definitely, like what a greater tragedy in the life of a woman when she is, mistreated in such a way. So initially, Mother Draupadi had a thought that like I can approach to Dhritarashtra because he is a king. He can protect me, give me shelter. And then she approached to Bhishma, all her husbands. But finally, she understood that like nothing can work out. And this is a very classic example. If we just learn this example, we can understand what Ananya Bhakti means. And then she started calling Govinda, Govinda, Gopal, Gopal. But with one hand, she was holding her sari. And Dushasan was not an ordinary one. He was a mighty, like 1,000 elephants strength equal to Dushasan's strength. That was so powerful person. And Draupadi was just a lady. So she was calling Govinda, Gopal. So then in Dwarka, Mother Rukmani was saying, why don't you go? What kind of God you are? Your devotee is in trouble because she can feel, she is a woman. So a woman can feel, the pain of another woman. So Mother Rukmani can feel that in what kind of condition Draupadi is. And Krishna was not going. But Krishna is like, no, she is not calling me. But how can you say like that? She is calling you. She is calling Govinda, Gopal, Shri Krishna Govinda, Hare Murari. She is calling. But no. She still believes that she can protect herself. Because with one hand, she is protecting, like holding her sari. So that this is a very, very good principle. If we just want to understand what Ananya Bhakti is, what unallied devotion is like. And then we will see the practical, how it applies in our life also. So generally our tendency is also like that. We see, when we are in difficulty, in danger, we look for help. Of course, when we look for help from Vaishnavas and Guru, that's also like Krishna. But when we look for the help, from, as if the people of this world will save us. No, it's an illusion. And then when we are frustrated in this attempt, at least we are in so much ego that I can protect myself. I can protect myself. And when this attitude is there, Krishna is helpless. Krishna can't help. Because she is not asking my help. She still believes that she can protect herself. But those, they are the Ananya devotees, Ananya Bhakta, they are free from this conception. They are completely Dainya. And this is like, that's a bhakti starts with like Sharanagati. Dainya Atma Nivedana Goptratve Varan Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasha Palan. Dainya Atma Nivedana. Mahaprabhu like this, Dainyata, humility. Even in 13th chapter, humility, Dainyata. This is the quality. That's a Mahaprabhu. Tranadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Saishna. Those they have developed an attitude of utter helplessness. They are only situated on the path of Ananya Bhakti, and then this verse actually applies for them. So then Draupadi realized actually, now it's not going to work. And then with Draupadi, Mother Draupadi raised both her arms and going, Govinda, Gopala. And then Krishna came in a Vastra avatar. So point is, Krishna protect. Krishna gives protection. Krishna maintain. Krishna say like, I yoga shemam vahamam. I carry what they lack and I give what they require actually. But when they are exclusively dependent on Krishna, exclusively devoted to Krishna. Now how this principle applies in our life? especially when we are beginners in Krishna consciousness, like we are not a ripened mango, we are not a yellow mango, we are a green mango. So every morning in Guru Puja we sing that like Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kariya Ekya Arana Kariya Manacha. So if a person who is just stick on this path, Guru Mukha Padma, he just do what his Guru says. And if he just lead his life according to that principle, that person is also situated on the path of Ananya Bhakti. And for such a person, he doesn't have to worry about who will maintain me and how will I be liberated. Because in person's life, this two anxiety is there. Who is going to maintain me? And when I will leave my body, will I be in that consciousness? I can come back to Godhead. But Prabhupada, like we can see in ISKCON movement also, like in the initial, in like Prabhupada disciples, like they were completely in one consciousness, Prabhupada consciousness. Whatever Prabhupada said, like they just do it. So like there's a classic example, and we see everything comes in due course of time, like what the devotees needed, and to maintain and to carry out this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when they leave their body, they don't have to worry about their liberation actually, because Krishna personally comes and devotees are there, to remind them about Krishna. So this is all about Ananya Shintyanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nitya Bhayuktanam Yoga Shema Mahame. So we also aspire that we can achieve also that consciousness and can develop that attitude that without worrying about liberation and our own personal maintenance, we can actually do justice with the real goal of life, and that can only be obtained in human form, that is Krishna Prem, to think of Krishna always. I just end like this is told in Padma Puran, that whatever we do in bhakti, what's the goal actually? Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedaya etayo eva kinkara. Since morning to evening, whatever we are doing, the only purpose is remembering Krishna. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedaya etayo. So if a person who is maintaining such a consciousness, he is an unalloyed devotee, he is a pure devotee, he is an Ananya Bhakta, and Krishna says Yoga Shemam Vahamyaham. And generally this is used by LIC, life insurance corporations, Yoga Shemam Vahamyam. But real LIC is like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna's assurance. So certainly this is a very heavy verse, a very elevated verse. It's a very top class teaching is there. But if one has a faith in Guru and he is properly situated in that mood, then yes, Krishna is promising here. He doesn't have to worry. Hare Krishna. So thank you all so much. We still have, I think, 7-8 minutes. If you would like to comment or questions or want to add something, please. Okay. Thank you all so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.